high-speed business at a record pace.
Get 70 miles per gallon on this smoke.
This is shipment made of Catalunya.
There he is.
Hey, are we live?
We're
is this
live.
live?
This is live.
Wow, welcome to the Fast Ones. My name is Max, one of your hosts for the day, and we have Mike. We have a special guest at the studio. With joining us today is Carlos Amezcua, as everyone knows, the famous father of Mike Amezcua.
That would be me.
I'm the father of the famous Mike.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
I'd like to thank you for the invitation to come here to make the Spaniards stand out for the race that was in our home country.
Yes.
Where we came in with 25, 26 in the race.
At least.
At least 25.
At least. Es igual.
Oh man.
Yeah, welcome.
I had to hide my Spanish flag.
Yeah. We're glad that we got some Spanish blood to represent after the Spanish Grand Prix. That was a perfect Spain accent.
I'm such a fan, you guys.
Good.
This is the best show, and you guys have. How many? You've done like 3 episodes now.
104.
We're deep.
Something like
We're
that.
deep.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
104 episodes, and you
We've been
guys are
doing it
still
a while.
talking to each other, which is remarkable.
That is a feat.
It's more than can be said about Bon Jovi. Keep that in mind.
Yes. Well, I'll tell you what. The years and years that I've had fabulous sidekicks. Great anchor women who worked next to me, and anchor men who worked next to me who were terrific. But I'll tell you what, it didn't always last very long.
Okay.
Because there's egos and there's all kinds of things that go on.
Uh-huh.
You guys get along great.
Yeah.
I've
well,
traveled
thank
with you, so I know that you're
I was going to say, we went to Daytona 24 hours
Yeah,
together,
yeah.
and there was no egos there.
No.
It was just a blast.
No, just a lot of sleeping.
A lot of sleep.
When we could catch a break.
Yeah.
The highlight, running into Gunter Steiner.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
That was amazing.
Which we joked about.
Chasing him down.
We joked about before it actually happened.
Yeah.
Carlos
What if you
was
see
chasing
Gunter?
everybody saying Gunter. Mm-hmm. And then we actually saw Gunter, and we were like,
Right
wait
in
a
the
minute.
crowd.
Wait a minute. We got to go see him. It was amazing.
It started as a joke. I'm sorry to, I messed up the format. So
There's
Oh,
no
no. There
There's
really
no-
is
always
no
do what you
format.
do, and then
I was just shocked to come down into the studio today and see a guest. I was not aware. And to have two
When's
Amezcuas.
the guest going to show?
Yeah.
So this might be a little crazy today. I'll try and wrangle both of you in.
That's
luck.
good. It's impossible.
It's gonna be
not going
hard.
to happen.
It's gonna be
Yes,
hard. But we have to talk about the Spanish Grand Prix because we just watched it.
yes.
That makes logical sense to me.
I mean,
That's what we do. We
That's
talk
what we
about
do.
Formula One.
Talk
We
about
talk
the
about
fun
motorsport.
We were excited for the start,
We're excited for the start.
and then the middle section, we all fell asleep. And then the last...
No, for real,
then-
that's how it
then
went.
From 50 to 66, we had a race.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
It was fun to watch.
And
Yeah,
and
that
it
part.
came at a good moment because I was texting people being like, "We need a safety car."
yeah, we need something.
It's getting to be one of those races.
And it sucks how many times this has come at the disposal of one of our favorites. But Kimmy is just having a rough go.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, but anyways, we'll get around to it.
Yeah, we'll get around to it.
Kimmy, poof.
Yeah.
His car just turned off.
It's just fully shut off.
I was at least happy that it wasn't his fault.
You notice he said
Right.
we're going to talk about it later, and I just jumped right in.
Yeah.
I'm
Carlos, you're breaking the format.
You're
need to
breaking
do
this
us a
format
favor
that
and you need to
doesn't
not break the
exist.
format.
all right, I'll be quiet.
Oh man, I don't even know what anecdotes I had to talk about this weekend, but I know I have some car movie stuff to talk about
Oh, well, I mean,
at the end of the episode,
Oh,
or,
okay.
or right now.
how would you, talk about your format? What format you want, man?
I didn't really watch a car movie, but kind of. This is one of those ones that I think you, Mike,
Okay.
would really like to throw out there as a car movie
because it's not a car
because
movie?
there's a car in it.
Max, I like car movies.
But it might be.
Okay,
It's a
okay,
road
all
trip
right, all right.
movie.
Okay.
And do road trip movies count as car movies?
Some of them, yeah.
Some of them. So watched a Goofy movie this weekend.
Oh, that's a car movie.
Are you talking like Goofy the cartoon?
Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah. Honestly,
I'm out.
one of the top 3 Disney movies of all time.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so good.
And it was produced by Disney Francais. And so you can't even hate on it because it's like, look, you do your French impression.
What
It's
for?
okay.
I will not watch a Disney movie and make it a
So
cow
there you
movie.
go. All right, see?
It's impossible.
He's practically French, Mexican, and everything that he's got under his belt. It's crazy.
I will call it Claire, and we have a little bit of wine, and we will talk about the real cow movies like it won.
So
Like
yeah,
Bullet.
Bullet. Yes.
Bullet was a very good American movie. McQueen going up and down the mountains. It was great.
the only
you know?
McQueen we know in our generation is Lightning.
the best
poor
car
guys.
movie.
Poor guys. Yeah.
The best car in Goofy movie, the car that I wanted, is
His car.
no, not his car.
Oh, okay.
If you can tell me what car that is, someone
a
asked
Gremlin.
me. It's a Gremlin.
Yeah.
Someone asked me, and I was like, I don't know, a Fiat.
Yeah.
It's like a cartoon car.
It's for sure like it's definitely the AMC Gremlin shape.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah,
have
yeah.
to pull up a photo of it.
I mean, Goofy
brother
would
had a
drive.
Gremlin.
Did he?
A
Did it
green-
run ever?
It's a great car. It was a chick magnet.
Really?
Yes,
Yeah.
the ugliest car in the world.
Wow.
But for some reason, the girls at BYU loved it.
Dang. Maybe I need to
That's
find
the
a
school
Gremlin.
that's just up the corner here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang. Who is Goofy's neighbor?
Pete.
Pete?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like the villain.
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
also-
He has the motorhome
Yeah.
with the bowling alley.
Yeah. It's
I
so
feel
epic.
like all of us wanted that car growing up.
Yeah.
So bad.
Carlos
Are
is
we
so
still
checked
talking
out.
about the cartoon?
He's so
Yeah.
checked out.
We're going to talk about 45 minutes of Goofy movie.
By this time, Max, just so you know, I'm 6 years younger than my closest sibling. Carlos, he was racing. He was doing things in his life. He was like, I'm done being a dad. He's never probably seen the Goofy movie.
Well, after this night, I'm done being a dad.
Checked out.
It's
He's over.
done. Cutting
He's out.
ties.
He's done.
Well, even if you cut ties, see Goofy movie because it's about a father repairing the relationship with his son. So this is so well timed.
Well, I mean, I can't say that you don't deserve it.
Thank you for the cartoon flog.
By the end of the episode, you'll be dancing together, just like in the movie. That gremlin goes off a waterfall, and I didn't remember that at the end of the movie, they pull up to Goofy's house in the gremlin. And I thought, how did they fish this out of the gorge it fell into?
You are not going to stop.
Okay. Moving on.
It's a good question, Max.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
a good
Should have
question.
left it for the end of the show.
In the chat,
He'll be asleep by then.
there'll be a separate episode all about deep diving into the Goofy
I might,
movie
I may pick up
car
the phone and call the house
mythology.
chap.
Yeah,
Talk about
right.
trains.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's shift gears.
Not a
Let's
bad
shift
idea.
gears.
Okay, let's shift gears.
Back to the Spanish Grand Prix.
So wait a minute. Is this the real Goofy from Disney?
Yeah.
Okay. And he has a friend named Pete?
Yeah, he was like the
How do
bigger.
you not know Pete?
Did you see what I'm doing here?
Okay, now you're going back to it. Now that we've. oh my gosh.
I mean, don't tempt us because
Yeah.
I could talk for a while about the
We
Goofy
can-
movie.
we can get through
It's
that.
the 20th year anniversary of the Goofy movie.
I'm having a great
So
time.
it's timely. It's timely. Disney, we need some money and some Goofy movie merch. So we're happy to
We need
we're
some
happy
dinero.
we're happy to talk about all things Goofy movie until you
do
send
whatever.
us stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Spanish Grand Prix. Speaking of Disney and new partnerships, they're
geez.
dealing with F1 now. Did you know this, Carlos?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What were your first thoughts when you saw that Disney is going to be doing a little collab with F1?
I was not happy.
Me too. Why were you not happy?
Disney's into everything. Too many things.
Yes.
Stay in your lane, people.
Yeah.
You make cartoons. Make good cartoons. Make good, fun family stuff. Parks, great parks. I love. I'm a Disney guy from the get-go. I'm as old as Disneyland. I know about Disney.
Yeah.
Stay out of racing.
Yeah.
Just stay out.
Yeah. I feel like that's very accurate. Over the past
I'm as old as Disneyland. I practically created Walt. I was there. I punched him in the face and I said, "You should make Disneyland. You should probably make a Disney."
your dad sounds Italian.
I didn't realize.
Is that how I sounded?
Yeah.
You do sound very Italian. I see where Mike gets
There are
it.
no Italians in F1. I learned that last week.
It's true. It's true. People think there are, but they're just
one
French.
of the best faux pas I've ever seen. there are no Italian. Oh yeah, wait.
Yeah, no, it's the heart. It's the heart of F1.
They're
They're not good at it, but they love it. Until Ferrari starts winning races,
Oh my
geez,
God.
prove
Which
me
may
wrong.
never happen.
No, it will never happen. Disney has a habit in the past 10 years of ruining everything that I have loved as a child.
everything.
Star Wars is dead. and it will always be dead to me now.
Yep.
They're doing it to Marvel, and they own The Simpsons now. They've like killed The Simpsons. And then when I saw the collab with F1, I was like, don't do this, please.
I was not a
Please
fan.
don't do this to my F1.
It's it's
I am
it's
not-
fair. It's fair
Yeah.
that you would feel that way.
Yeah.
It's definitely an overstep.
Yeah. It is an overstep.
I mean, and F1's got a lot of collaborations right now that are good.
yeah.
And it's a little bit like, come on, you don't need to be making it look like not every F1 collab is good, because they are good.
I mean,
But-
there are a lot of things that watching the Louis Vuitton logo go by every 5 seconds doesn't make me happy either. Just.
But what about Barilla pasta?
Barilla pasta's fine.
Yeah, it'll help
So-
get some Italians into
Yeah,
the sport.
yeah. get some
exactly. Yeah,
Italian.
some of that missing presence.
I mean, it's fine. It's just like some things just don't seem to fit. I understand Louis Vuitton's a great brand and
Luxury brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I once met Pascal Vuitton in Venice.
See, okay, this is
Italy.
where we got to stop.
Why did you bring him
moving
on
to
if
the
you're not going to
Spanish
talk
Grand
to
Prix?
him?
No, but he's like, I waste time. I met the Louis Vuitton guy. He's a good guy.
Do you know how many
He's
listeners are
really
going to
good.
be like, I want to hear this
He
story?
is a good guy. He's a very wealthy guy.
I bet.
Wealthy enough to sponsor F1.
Yeah, to buy, pretty much
All over
buy
the
it.
field.
Jeez, yes, yes.
What?
I'll continue your story about Minter Maiton. Because apparently we're not going to get through this episode without you telling a story about Mr. Vuitton.
No, I'm done with him. No, I'm done. Yeah. He was a very nice guy.
Okay, cool.
Pascal Vuitton.
Oh, is he Louis' son?
He's a grandson, great grandson, I think.
Oh, that's cool. That's way cool. See, I was
I didn't
interested
realize
in
that
that.
Louis Vuitton was actually a person.
You can tell more stories on this podcast.
Yes. Well,
You didn't think he was a real person?
I mean,
Gucci?
He started a bag company many, many years ago.
Louis Vuitton. You have the Gucci, the House of Gucci.
there's
They're
so many
real
people with company names that they aren't real people. Like, Muhammad
Ford.
Ali.
Ferrari, Lamborghini. They're all named after people.
Oh,
Red Bull.
Red Bull.
yeah.
Yeah.
Alpha Tauri.
AlphaTauri. Okay. I don't know
Man, I have
what
really
we're doing
messed
with
up your
this
podcast.
episode.
It's really derailed. I'm
No,
not
this
gonna-
is good.
I'm
This
not
is
gonna
But,
take credit.
par for the course.
This there was a lot of anticipation. There always is after Monaco because Monaco is such a blah race.
It is, yeah.
The pageantry and everything around it is fantastic,
Right.
and it's a great experience to go there and watch it live, and it's thrilling. But for race fans, it's a complete bummer because it's all done in qualifying. You win in qualifying, you win the race most of the time. So you get to Spain, you go, okay, now they're really going to race,
Yeah.
and then they don't really race.
You're right. It is like
You
a
just
big
go,
letdown.
What in the world?
Right.
Yeah, you're just like teased for all through Monaco, and then you just a real big nosedive in the energy. But
It's definitely like still like I think that like the novelty of seeing an F1 car go through the streets of Monaco is really special.
Yeah.
And especially if it's all 20 of them. But I think that the thing it's amazing that they can do it at speeds that they do, but it's more interesting even in qualifying than it is during the race.
Yeah,
You
for
said
sure.
that last week.
Yeah.
Because qualifying is the
they're
actual
full out.
limit,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, they don't have anybody else to contend with. They're just on their own.
Right.
Yeah.
So during the race, it's just not as interesting.
Yeah.
But anyways,
But the Spanish Grand Prix.
yes.
I feel like I don't see this every year. Was it last year? Did we have a Spanish Grand Prix as well?
Yeah, we've had it for a while.
Okay, wow. I'm not remembering these races.
They said it was the 35th consecutive year.
Wow. I also do not listen to the races, apparently. No, but it was.
Well,
it
that's
was
why
good.
when professional announcers are around.
Were we surprised
put those
that
kind of
like
things.
Oscar got pole at all?
No. Well, it's funny. We had a text thing going on before the race, and I said, "Who'd you get your money on for the poll?" And he said, "Oscar," right away.
Yeah.
And I said, "I feel like there's just going to be a surprise.
Yeah.
Like someone's going to come forward." And I thought Hadjar looked really fast,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
and there was a chance that he actually could maybe not get pole, but get front row. And of course, it didn't happen because I think there's this psychology within McLaren to not play all their cards in qualifying and not play all their cards in practice. And so when it comes down to the last little bit, then they go all out
Yeah.
and they surprise everybody. And now everybody knows their secret. They're just fast.
Yeah.
They're just the fastest group.
Yeah. Because that's an interesting thing we need to talk about is the elimination of the flexi wing
Right.
and the non-elimination of McLaren's pace.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
they're still up there.
Yeah, this
so
race
fast.
They
this-
knew it wasn't going to affect anything apparently.
Yeah, this race was definitely the earmarked on the calendar for us as being like, okay,
We might see
we
something.
might see a change.
Ferrari might be able to step it up.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would say that we did see it in some ways. We had during qualifying, the Ferraris were the second fastest car.
Yeah.
And that is different. Mercedes were not as close, and Red Bull was not as close. McLaren was still dominant, but Ferrari suddenly they took a step.
Yeah.
Their strategy, I feel like, was crap in the race.
Yes.
Putting Lewis further in the pack. Charles ended up on the podium, but it definitely didn't pan out as well for Lewis.
Yeah.
But I still think that for Catalunya, Ferrari was second fastest, which is a step.
That is a step. You're right.
And that's a different step than I think, I'll just say, Flexi Wings, this is the one we earmarked for Ferrari to make a step.
Yeah.
And it was a step.
And it was a
So
step.
I'm just saying, I think we saw something.
Yeah, you're accurate.
Yeah.
You're shaking your head.
No, I'm Mercedes. They got to be kicking themselves, trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
I mean, Antonelli blows an engine. George is crying because doesn't have a sandwich in the cockpit with him. Where's my sandwich? I'm looking for my sandwich, and they're trying to knock me out. That's not really Charles's. You have the better Charles than I do.
Charles or George?
I mean George.
Yeah. George is.
No, George. It's like he can be so fast, and then something annoys him, and he just loses his concentration.
You're right.
He starts getting off the track, and he gets off his line. And anybody that gets near him, he's like, "How dare you?" Like, what do you mean, "How dare you?"
Yeah. Yeah.
This whole thing with Max was like, come on, this is what this is what people come to see. They want to see you rub tires and maybe get a little too close and miss the apex and throw somebody off and get back in and see how you handle this kind of trauma. And now the whole world is against Max because Max was racing.
Yeah.
Well, that's what he's paid to do.
Yeah. And is it any different than the Max we've seen when he's actually under pressure? No, he's never changed.
So he's the same.
Consistent.
Yeah, he's always the same.
And so is George.
And so is George.
Yeah.
Man, I was thinking, how is George Russell the only driver who is like not cool? We don't count Lance Stroll because he's not like a driver. But like out of the rest of the 19 drivers, I would say they are all really cool guys.
Right.
George is the only driver in Formula One to just not make it cool. And it's weird that after the race, he's whining and complaining, and
He's the coolest guy.
he thinks he's the coolest.
Yeah, he's so aloof. You watch him walk around the paddock.
We talked
He
about
walks
it.
like this.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And and he signs autographs and he waves like he's Prince of
he
England.
does think he's royal,
He does
doesn't
think
he?
he's royalty.
Yeah.
I think that's actually the perfect way to put it.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
don't
bit
like
royal.
it. And I
Yeah.
don't like that he's calling out Max as like, why don't people think of the children? Like he's setting a bad
Okay,
example.
all
I'm like,
right, all right.
are you serious?
Yeah,
this is the lamest argument for anything
It's
in any
so
sport.
typical George.
Yeah. Think of the children.
Yeah, this is the Drake versus Kendrick Sue. Call a press conference because Max was racing dirty.
Yeah. I have never heard of an athlete telling on another athlete to like, we need to set a better example.
Look, he was praying to the altar of Princess Diana before the race.
It's true.
So I mean, this is the kind of
Yeah, he's
Diana
going for the
would
same hairstyle.
Diana would be saying, "What about the children?" Right? So George is emulating Diana, but she had a better haircut.
and the wrong person died in a crash. Let's say that.
Are you saying that Princess Diana needed a halo?
I'm saying we all would agree. We would switch Diana for George in a second.
Could we have a universe swap?
Oh my God!
Who
Is
looks
there a
better
small
in
universe
Benetton F1 gear?
Okay, all right. But here's the thing. You're right. You're 100% right. This is the thing that was making me nuts too, is that it's like, George, why you got to be so typically embarrassing when it comes to the thing that you're going to get mad at Max for?
Yeah.
And again, I think that the sport overemphasized this. And look, ultimately, we've talked about how many times the mentality of a world champion is not the same. And something that you and I have talked about is that they're not likable people.
Yeah.
Michael Schumacher, there's a reason that dude didn't resonate with me as a kid, and I became a Mika Hakkinen fan.
Right.
It was because
No, go all the way across sports.
Yeah.
You know,
LeBron James is not a likable guy.
LeBron James not
Well,
likable.
Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan
was not liked.
Teammates.
Ronaldo is not liked.
Yeah.
They love Messi, but they don't like Ronaldo.
Yeah.
And it's just the attitude of a champion is single-minded, very focused, and outworks everybody else.
Yeah.
And it's so competitive when he's playing the game or whatever it is, with racing or playing the game. They're out to win no matter what. And yeah, they understand the rules, but they push everything. They push all the bounds. Everything.
It's win at all costs.
Yeah.
And that's what Max does. And when he doesn't get his way, he turns into a child. And Michael Schumacher was disqualified from a season for running into Jacques Villeneuve.
He was disqualified for
an
season?
entire season.
How many races did he
Ruled
miss?
out of the championship because he turned into Jacques Villeneuve, trying to crash him out of the race.
I did not know
Sound familiar?
this. Yes. No.
That's what I'm saying.
Sound familiar? Yeah.
So when
That's
people
crazy.
when people look at Max and they go, "You're a bad example," I'm like, Michael Schumacher was a bad example.
Yeah.
Oh, look, see what happened? One of the children of Michael Schumacher, who was
Yeah.
who was Max Verstappen,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it affected him.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe George is right.
Michael's
Yeah.
best friend was Yas. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like this is carbon copy behavior for world champion.
Mm-hmm.
But then on top of it, it's like instead of George just being like Max will be Max, he brings in the kids,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh my gosh, could this be a lamer argument about how you're not tough enough to say? But that like anything cool in this
Yeah.
moment, you just have to go for like the.
Yeah.
Well, think of the children,
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Max.
Well,
you have to keep it within the lines.
Look,
The children at the hospitals and in the adoption facilities. What are those called? I've never been to one, but I'm sure they're disappointed.
this
Yeah.
is perfect, George.
Yeah.
This
No,
is
it's
perfect,
good.
George. But my whole argument, and I've got a lot to say because I'm only here once.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
probably never invited again. My idea. I just finished watching the Dale Earnhardt series.
Okay.
on Prime. It's amazing.
Oh, I didn't know.
Highly recommend
I didn't know
it.
it was out yet.
It is one of the best things I've seen.
I haven't
I'm
been
watching
able
it
to turn
tonight.
on yet.
Of racing ever. It's done by the Imagine people, and it's just so well done.
Ron Howard is Imagine
And
Entertainment.
and
Arrested
Ron
Development.
Howard, Brian Grazer.
Of Arrested Development fame.
Imagine Entertainment
Different guy.
goes, no, it is. It's the same guy. Ron Howard's just amazing. Anyway.
So anyway, the is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. See, I don't know that, but I'll tell you the thing about F1 today and NASCAR and all of these so-called peak sports and motorsports is that A, there are too many rules.
Mm-hmm.
B, there's too much commonality of equipment. If you innovate, you break some rule and you're fouling out and no one likes you. There's a lot of money, and it's fine. I'm all about having the money flow into the sports, but they've taken the racing out of it. When you watch the Dale Earnhardt series and you see that they're slapping together a stock car and putting whatever motor they got into that.
Found this on the web, but did you see that? They're putting their slapping together a stock car.
Is
Check
that-
it out.
The series just went off. For those of you who can't tell.
Not only is my son interrupting me, now Siri's interrupting me.
Listen, Apple.
So
We know you have an F1 movie. Don't interrupt us.
Anyway, the idea is that the point of my argument is that
Yeah.
they have taken racing out of racing.
Yeah.
Right.
There's too many rules and too many things that seem to get in the way of the Max Verstappens, of the Michael Schumachers, of the Jacques Villeneuves, or any of these guys who are terrific race car drivers. And sure, Ayrton Senna, had some sort of weird thing happen to his car when he hit that bump and went flying, and he was killed. We learned something from that, and it's a tragedy to lose such a great racer. But I bet that in today's cars, he might not be as good as he was. Because the cars began to change. The early F1 racing cars were pretty basic.
Right.
Pretty
Yeah.
basic machines.
Go kart with wings.
And you didn't
Yeah.
have some engineer going, oh, this is 200 millimeters, come on.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Right.
And they should be able to bump a little. And, if I hear that, the stewards have noted. Oh, we've got to note that. Did you see? We've got to note that. That's
Right.
not like, go away, stewards. We don't need
Yeah.
you. I know they're talking about that it's safe. Anybody who wants to be a race car driver doesn't care about being safe, really.
I mean, this is an argument I agree with for
Is that-
sure.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, sometimes I think that F1's too safe.
Yeah.
No, but like I
makes
think
it boring.
I mean, but that it makes it boring. I think there's this element of, well, if they're not driving as fast as they can and pushing it to the limit right on that razor's edge every single race, then why don't we just nerf the cars down to 100 miles an hour
Yeah.
and let them just like duke it out that way?
Yeah.
Because no, we want to see them like performing at their peak where everything's on the line, because that's what makes it so exciting. Yeah, and that's what makes it impossible for me to do in the sport, because I do not have the skill to fly around a track at 200 miles an hour and then also be brave enough to overtake people at that moment. No, they're just otherworldly people.
I would love to talk to Fernando Alonso about his first race and his race last week.
What an interesting thought.
Because the evolution of the car, he has seen it for how many years has it been? 20 years?
Yeah, it's about
About 20 years of racing. That's,
Yeah.
that's a huge evolution in racing.
yeah.
You
Can see it in his hair now.
No, yeah.
I'm telling you, it's the one area that I notice it the most.
I went to Monaco in 2012, and the
Oh,
cars
far
were
out.
shorter, and they had that whine, that V10. It was a V10, I think they were.
I think it was V8 at that era, but yeah.
But they had that crazy whine. It was
Yeah.
fantastic, and I think Checo hit the gore point coming out of the tunnel.
Coming out of the tunnel, yeah.
I filmed it actually, but they seemed to go a lot faster then. It just seemed that way.
Yeah.
And they had more maneuverability in the track, and that these cars kept
were
getting
smaller.
bigger and bigger
Yeah.
and bigger, and so it just. I mean, I just think that there is the danger of being a race car driver is pretty much gone. I mean, I hated seeing Dale Earnhardt hit the wall.
Yeah.
But there was, all kinds of extenuating circumstances that led to his death, besides the impact, and you
Yeah.
learn that in the movie, which is really interesting.
Interesting.
But he was all out.
Yeah.
He was all out every single time.
Yeah.
Didn't matter how old he was, or didn't matter what kind of equipment he had. He was going to take people out, and people knew it.
And I think that's part of what I feel about this whole situation with Max Verstappen, is that I'm like, look, Max is doing what we all expect. We said that before we even started the podcast. Like,
Yeah.
What's the surprise?
Yeah. Last year he did this to Lando in, was it Austria?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, right. It's-
Like he was like, I'm destroying you in the car.
right.
Don't get around me.
Yeah. You're not going to.
Yeah.
And I will make sure that you don't. But I think that the other thing is that Max is, the overreaction for what Max did was enormous. And again, kind of, I will say this just for the sake of all of the social media commenters who will hate this later, but the impact that he had with George was pretty light.
Yeah.
He's Max Verstappen, so he absolutely nailed it by wheel to wheel. No side pods, nothing damaged. He just went rubber to rubber and drove off. That's how freaking accurate that guy is. He nailed exactly where he intended to hit George and drove off like freaking screw you, whatever. And the overreaction from the stewards to be like, 10-minute penalty and 3 penalty points on your license and all of the
Yeah.
stuff that they did afterwards. I'm like, man, have these guys ever watched a NASCAR race?
If this had happened to St. Louis Hamilton, would the stewards have
Called Saint.
yes, would they have penalized him for that? I guarantee you, no.
No.
They would have noted it, and they would have said nothing to see here.
Right.
But because they're starting to all hate Max so much that they're now nitpicking him
Right.
and wanting, I guess, McLaren to win because it's a British team.
They want Lando to win.
Yeah, they
We'll
want
get
Lando.
into
They don't want
that.
Aussie.
We'll get into that later, but
Yeah, they don't want the Aussie to win.
no.
Yeah. They want to keep it
But
British.
I'm telling you, that whole the British influence on F1 is pretty intense, and I just find it distasteful that the rules don't apply equally to all the drivers.
Yeah. Well,
And my friend Carlos Sainz always says that. He's very
Yeah.
adamant about that.
yeah, no, that's true. I looked it up. Alonso's first race was in 2001. Wow. When did they start?
2001?
Yeah.
In F1? Are
Yeah.
you sure?
That's what Google
Is
said.
what Google said? Is that Gemini accurate, or is it
a
slightly
lot.
Fernando's
inaccurate?
first Formula One race was Australia Grand Prix 2001.
Wow. That's
Minardi.
Yeah, but Minardi is
Wow.
definitely the right team, but
When did they start introducing the paddle shifters on the steering wheel and not the
in the 90s.
Okay, I was gonna say, like, did Fernando drive a stick shift
no.
F1
He
car?
probably did before he got into F1.
Like in lower
Maybe in the
leagues
lower
and stuff,
categories,
which
yeah.
is nuts. Yeah, I was shocked when I watched a video on Mika Hakkinen.
Yeah.
And I guess I thought paddle shifters were like a '90s thing too, but no, he was shifting. those drivers in the 90s were shifting.
They're taking their hands off the wheel
Yeah,
to do that.
there was
yeah.
3 pedals.
Yeah.
Kind of to your
So
point,
crazy.
Watching Ayrton Senna do a lap around Monaco
Nuts.
is very different to watching Charles Leclerc do a lap around
Yeah.
Monaco. They're very much not the same.
Uh-huh.
But to your point, though, I mean, well, actually, maybe to counteract your point, I think the one thing that I think is that Senna in a modern car might be way gnarlier than these guys because he also had the ability. Because one of the things that was developed and then taken away, and one of the reasons that Ayrton suffered the crash that he did, was that they came up with, what was it called? It's called active suspension.
Okay.
Okay. An active ride height suspension dictated how high the car was over bumps. And Williams was the first to really get it right. And so when Alain Prost left McLaren and went to Williams, he won a championship because they were the ones who had active ride height.
And
And
Ayrton caught air, right? It unbalanced the car, right?
yeah, he bottomed out
Yeah.
in Imola. And so Adrian Newey's design of the Williams car was very dependent on the active ride height. And the reason that this matters is because ride height and airflow under the car and everything like that, the wings only operate at certain parameters, right? And so having a fixed ride height that you know that it's going to bounce here or whatever, and the computer in the car is dictating where the car is sitting
Oh, wow.
and measuring it all the time is
That's
amazing.
crazy. Yeah,
but
that's amazing.
but Alain Prost in that season was so much faster than everybody else because they had that dialed. So they banned it the next season, but Senna had signed to go to Williams to have that car, and then it wasn't there, and he bottomed out in Imola and he died. So
Crazy.
kind of wild, a little bit of
Yeah.
crazy story to go along with that. But the idea of what I'm getting at is that the modern F1 car isn't allowed to have active suspension. But like every loophole that they've exploited with little things that swing the weight and the brake balance changes and whatever nonsense that they aren't telling us are in F1 cars, is active ride height possibly a thing right now?
Maybe.
Cars go really, really fast. Some of me believes that they've found loopholes for that kind of thing as well.
We don't know what McLaren's cooking up. We'll figure it out.
But I love the fact that there are engineers who are always cooking up stuff.
Yeah.
And then the stewards find them and then give them all kinds of penalties for cooking up great engineering.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's like, okay,
Once
so
again, the stewards are the worst.
take the edge off
Yeah.
the team that innovates, right? Like
Yeah.
Red Bull innovated and they got knocked down, and then Mercedes was innovating. Remember the
DAS?
steering
Yeah.
wheel nonsense that was so cool.
Yeah.
And,
So amazing.
and they penalized them for that. Like, why?
Yeah.
If they have if they can figure out a way to make their car faster and make their whole team better, do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Then the variable of the drivers and the cars becomes interesting. But when you have a kind of a monotonous uniformity
Yeah.
in all of the racing families, then it's boring.
Yeah.
It's like racing one Chevy Malibu against another Chevy Malibu.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Then it's just IndyCar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like what Adrian Newey said in his book. It's the same thing. It's just like it's the job of the FIA to make the cars as safe as possible, and it's the job of the engineers to exploit every single rule and to like not make them safe and go faster. And it's
Right.
like they're just like warring against each other. Yeah.
Toss the rule book.
It is yeah. Yeah, Carlos says throw the rule book out. I said cut the wings off. I mean, we got different takes here. But
Man, how was it when Max got those hard tires put on?
He was out of his mind. He went.
Yeah.
he was already pissed
How
off.
in the world does Red Bull not have the tires?
Well, here's a question I wanted to ask maybe
don't
both of
understand.
you. Why wouldn't they just leave Max out? I mean, 6-8 more laps, just leave him out and let him manage the tires and defend.
Let him manage the traffic behind it.
Because they would have all pitted, he would have been in the front.
Right.
Yeah, why not just do that?
I
Especially going on to hards.
I was screaming at the TV like, "Don't
Bad,
box!"
bad move.
Yeah, don't box.
I mean, I think that they're and I heard this as well from the announcers because they said, "Yeah, hards. Like, what are they going for here?" But maybe it was Nico Rosberg that actually said this, which would
I did not listen to that broadcast.
you
'Cause I was like-
did the right thing.
Yeah, because I know who Nico Rosberg
Oh,
is.
Lewis, why is he doing so bad? Where did his performance suddenly go? I can't tell in my yacht in Monaco. No one's better than me.
Yeah, I could.
Did I mention that I beat Lewis? I think I forgot to mention.
It's
that
going to be sad when Lewis retires not a current champion. I
Yeah.
retired a champion. So annoying.
Just the worst. Oh my gosh! But Nico said something like, "The only thing I can think is that that's a fresh tire, and the team is just banking
it's a fresh
on."
hard tire that's hard to get up to temperature quickly.
Yeah.
When everybody else is already to
And
temperature.
I wonder if Max had already used all of his sets. So
he had.
yeah,
Yeah,
right. So
That's all they had
but
left.
So just leave him out.
A scuff 4-lap soft from FP1 or FP2 or whatever.
Yeah.
Would have been a way better option
Yeah.
than the hard tire.
You know,
Yeah.
He lost his mind the minute he pulled away. What are you
What is
doing?
this?
Yeah, like, why did I
felt
pit?
them immediately.
Yeah.
When when they put the thing down, he goes, "What?" You know.
Yeah.
You can feel the hard tires.
Uh-huh.
And then he's like.
And
wiggling,
then
trying
when
to
he
get
almost
them.
like lost it, that fishtailing going
Yeah.
into the straight was wild. It got really exciting for a second. I was like, "Ooh, he's going out!" And then,
Well-
he caught it.
I kind of wanted him to wreck because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
felt
yeah.
like he was. Who was he racing with?
It's Charles Leclerc was
Was
right
it
there.
Charles?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Lewis podium.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah,
possible.
yeah.
This could be great.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know. But Lewis lost a few positions,
Yeah.
anyways. But he was in the same boat. I think Lewis had less tires, but it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, if you don't plan your weekend outright and you don't have a new set of tires to go on to, then yeah, you're sitting duck.
Yeah.
For a boring race, we sure got a lot to say.
It got real exciting at the end.
It was boring until the end.
Yeah. The F1 gods blessed us
They
for
did.
being so patient through Monaco and for most of the Spanish Grand Prix.
Right.
Dude, Nico Hulkenberg. Let's give a shout out
Yeah.
to Haas boy right there.
P5
So great.
applause, yeah.
So
Yeah,
huge.
that was great to see.
in a very ugly green car.
In a very ugly green car. Two things. Is it going to be continued performance from Sauber, Kick, whatever they are?
No.
No? Okay, well then the second question is going to get answered. Are they going to get any sponsors on their car? No. Come on.
No.
Well, it'll be Porsche or Audi next year.
Audi next
It'll
year.
be Audi.
Yeah.
So they will get sponsors.
Yeah, just next year.
Just next year.
Not this year. Man.
Me and Mike were so curious as to why no sponsors just want to sponsor that car. Like put your brand on it.
I mean, Wendy's needs a presence. They've got new Frosties.
Yeah.
They've got to get it out there.
Guys
Top
out there-
Ramen is losing to Burnelli, whatever the
There are people
noodle
putting
thing is.
stopwatches on how much time each sponsor gets seen on TV.
Yeah.
Right? And you see that car maybe twice during a race?
Yeah.
3
But
times?
you then hope that Gabriel Bortoletto crashes and then gets tons of screen time with the Top Ramen logo across the back wing.
This is my favorite. My favorite thing about NASCAR is I've always said this is I'm like, look, if you're Burger King and you struggle to be the McDonald's giant, if your guy rolls over at Talladega, he's got more social media plays than the dude who won.
Yeah.
So sponsor the guy who rolls every Talladega, and you're gonna get great
Yeah.
dollar for dollar there.
Here's a question. So Yuki Tsunoda is like not scoring points. Like that performance in that second seat of Red Bull really hasn't changed. We've talked about like, yeah, it's not crashing anymore. Liam Lawson was like not performing well, obviously. But Yuki isn't doing much better, right?
They put a limiter on his car. So
Oh, is that it? He did have a different floor. He did have a different floor this week.
Oh, is that the excuse this
That's
week?
what they said.
Yeah.
But I'm like, did we just get rid of Liam Lawson just to get rid of Liam Lawson?
I mean,
Is that what all the noise was this year?
look,
That we needed justice for Yuki and Honda? Because like performance hasn't changed. The car's still just geared towards Max, and they're still heading towards an awful future at Red
how is
Bull.
it possible that Yuki was faster in the other car?
well,
the Racing Bulls, yeah, they're both faster.
Yeah.
Liam was also faster
Yeah.
in it, so it's like it's the Racing Bulls car is better than the current Red
We
Bull.
all acted like all problems had been solved when Yuki moved into
Well,
that
I was
seat,
rooting for
but they
him.
haven't.
I really wanted him to do better.
I want him to do better.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
Yuki.
I do too.
It's just been weird to me to be like, is that what it all was, just to get Yuki in the seat? And,
But we didn't know Christian wanted to go to Ferrari. So.
oh yeah,
Oh,
he's going
gosh.
to Ferrari. Yeah.
It's not happening. It's not happening. But listen, I think the other thing is, okay, to kind of speak to that though,
Yeah.
is that like, yeah, all these people are like, oh, Isaac Hadjar deserves to be in the seat, and I'm like, no, don't ruin his career.
Yeah.
First of all, but secondly, if anything, Liam Lawson has gotten his butt freaking kicked by Isaac Hadjar, and this, if anything else, has been a really bad thing for Liam. Because if Yuki was still in the car, Yuki and Isaac were pretty even for the first 2 races. They weren't too far off of each other, but Liam gets in the car and he's really been inconsistent and not really. I mean, Isaac Hadjar's the only driver this year that wasn't knocked out in Q1 or something like that.
Yeah.
Or the only rookie who's not
Only
knocked out
rookie,
in
yeah.
Q1.
Wow.
And so it just speaks to how good his performances are, but that Liam's like, this is the worst thing that could have happened to him. It would probably be better if he was finishing 20th as Max's teammate, like Sergio Perez, because most of us would have had some understanding of it.
Yeah, I've been like blaming on the car.
Right.
It's not your
I
skill.
look at how wonderful the Lewis Hamilton and blonde-haired guy
Valtteri.
Those two, they work so well together. They were such a good team. The cars were evenly matched. Valtteri could have outraced Hamilton on one race, and then Hamilton had beat him on the next race or whatever.
Yeah.
But they were always competitive, always out front, kind of like the McLaren guys are now.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like.
Somehow, Red Bull has lost its way. And I don't know
You
where.
were right.
And I know Adrian knew
They
he
lost
left.
their way in Max.
I thought you were looking at me.
No, but they
Max was like, I didn't do
It was
anything.
your fault.
I told him to get Daniel Ricciardo years ago.
Yeah.
No, but the point is that Daniel and Max were even until they started to pivot the car completely to Max.
Yeah.
And like you said, this is the mark of a good car. That Lando and Oscar are trading wins, trading pole positions. Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri getting the same thing.
Yeah.
Esteban Ocon and Ollie Behrman.
Yeah.
It's even. If the car, that's the maximum limit of that car. Max Verstappen being able to perform and nobody else. Well, let me tell you a sad story of another team that did this. Their name is Honda, HRC, and MotoGP. They built a bike that only Marc Marquez could win
This is currently
MotoGP
right now?
titles. No, this was a few years ago.
Okay.
He was the only one that could ride the bike. His teammates couldn't do it, and he was winning championships. And then as soon as Mark left and he went to Ducati, Honda was in the back.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
And there was nobody to race that bike, and it was a complete turd. And so this is what we're saying about Red Bull.
Yeah.
All the eggs in the Max Verstappen basket is a bad gamble that is not going to pay off.
Explain something to me, because I watch you guys every week, and I always have these questions. Why would they prepare? I mean, why would they not pay attention to both cars? I mean, Max is now clearly, he's got all the attention of all the engineering staff, and I know that he has this car on the edge for him, but it seems like Yuki's an afterthought. His vehicle is a complete afterthought.
I think that's what we're all wondering is why can't they be more like a normal team?
Yeah.
But they have clearly just put all their eggs in that generational talent bucket of
Whose
Max.
fault is that?
Christian
Helmet.
The one that's going to Ferrari?
Horner. Well,
He's a brilliant team principal, and he will save Ferrari. Gosh.
sick. I can't believe that was a comment on my post this week.
That was running
Unreal.
wild.
Yeah.
But I wanted to quickly just say,
Are you able to look at the chat?
yeah, I'm just saying
nice.
hi to everyone in the chat. We got Kyle, we've got Blake, we've got the Haas chap. They're all in there. Hi, everybody.
Hot step. There we go.
As if you can't tell that I'm slightly distracted over here, it's because I'm actually doing the switching this
Mike
week.
is doing all the camera work this week
And one of the
from
cameras
his
broke.
computer.
And so if you check this one out, that's definitely an iPhone.
And then
So
he's got me to bother him.
yeah. So thank you guys for being patient with us, and thanks for being present.
Yeah, for sure. Man, going back to Isaac Hadjar, maybe the Haas chap can shed some light on this. But one thing that I am learning the more I watch Formula One is the different pronunciation of names across the world.
Right.
I heard a new one for Isaac this week.
Isaac.
No, it was
That one is weird.
That one is weird.
I
I've
don't
heard
like that one.
This one was Isaac.
Isaac.
Isaac Hadjar.
Is that like French?
I is a British guy.
Yeah.
I'm always
Henry.
Henry. Well,
Henry, we're just
I have
but humble Americans. Could you tell us if there's a weird pronunciation of Isaac from
I got
France?
over the Shaw pronunciation of Charles.
Yeah.
And then Isaac this week, I was like, oh,
Isaac.
it's a new one to learn.
Yeah.
Isaac.
Isaac.
I'm excited to
Hadjar.
hear
Well,
what
if
comes
you,
next.
If you watch if you listen to Crofty
Yeah.
and Brundle and Jensen Button, they all say everybody's name differently. They all have their own way of saying those names.
This is true.
Brundle is hysterical.
Yeah.
He has his own lexicon completely.
No, we got one of our first years of doing the podcast. I said Vettel,
Oh, yeah.
and someone was like, "It's Vettel."
Yeah.
And I was like, sorry, Brundle says Vettel.
I go with Brundle.
Yeah, and I'm like,
it's
I just
hard.
stuck with the guy who seemed like he had the most fancy pronunciation.
Must be the different slang and like accents that occur all throughout London, Liverpool down to South London.
When you hang out in Lincoln.
Yeah,
South Lincoln.
it's a really weird accent.
Yeah.
But they do.
Well,
They,
they
do
don't
I mean,
understand.
they all have their own way of saying stuff. And Isaac was. I did hear the Isaac and Isaac. Okay.
What they don't understand is that Lincoln is part of Liverpool.
Exactly.
That's where John's really from.
Yeah,
As everyone thought he was from Liverpool, but he's actually from Lincoln.
Terrible John.
I thought it was pretty good.
I was doing well, actually.
pretty good.
It was probably your perception.
He has
of
a
the
higher
film.
voice, you know.
Yeah, that was very
higher
very
voice.
George.
That's because I'm George.
Oh, well, maybe George.
You brought up something earlier, Lewis as Saint Louis. That made me ask a question. Lewis is a knight in England.
He is Sir.
He is a Sir
Lewis
Lewis.
Hamilton.
If Lewis can bring a championship to Ferrari, will he become a saint?
Well,
Yes.
Yeah, the Pope will save him.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. The Pope's
He's
American.
American.
now. I don't know if the Pope was Italian, maybe.
That's true.
But Lewis could be the first knight to become a saint. I don't know. There might be knights that are saints. I don't know British culture or Catholic culture.
Yeah, this is not a realm that we're well versed in.
Well, it is.
But something for the
Lewis
fans.
does this in the open. You know, he's praying.
He is, and he has a bit. Yeah, he is blessed. For
He's
sure.
very blessed.
Blessed.
as
He's been
we've
planning
seen.
this forever.
Yeah. Still I rise.
I think Lewis has
Yeah.
become the comic relief of the entire race, of all the races.
Oh my gosh, that's
he
the other
is
thing. to
just
talk about.
toying with those Ferrari engineers.
Jeez.
I love listening to his experience. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, you don't talk to me right now. You know?
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
Okay, and why are we doing this?
Yeah. He looked dejected this weekend. He even like said it. I feel like this is the worst part of my life.
It's been rough.
Yeah.
And
It
Adami.
hasn't been what he expected. That's for sure.
No.
Adami is the name of his
Which yeah.
his race engineer.
Okay.
And his career started at Minardi, which then became Toro Rosso,
Okay.
AlphaTauri. In 2015, he went from being on that team to Scuderia Ferrari as Sebastian Vettel's race engineer.
Okay.
So when Vettel went from Red Bull to race for Ferrari, he came over to be Vettel's race engineer.
Okay.
So he's been Vettel's race engineer, he's been Carlos Sainz's race engineer, and now Lewis's. And Adami has been like ignoring Lewis when he comes over the radio and goes, "Did I offend you?" Like,
Oh, right.
like
Yeah.
what's going on?
Crazy.
And then the other one is that he's like talking to him and going like, "What are we doing with the strategy or whatever?" And then it's just the communication between Lewis and him has been so poor
Yeah.
that I'm like, if that dude doesn't get the boot,
In
the next
that was
couple
the
weeks.
thing on my mind. Like, who are they going to pick? Lewis or this guy? I think
would
you go
it-
with the guy that you've invested, who's
Yeah,
a 7-time
that's
world
the
champion.
question,
Yeah.
If you're gonna build a car and call it the F44, and that's really a plan for Ferrari.
Next year?
No, Lewis
like a
wants-
street car, like
Lewis
a
wants
production
a street car made for
Oh.
him. That's called the F44. That's
That
supposed
was
to
part
be
of the
s-
package deal.
successor to the F40, and so he wants it to be
Whoa.
twin turbo V8
Crazy.
with a gated shifter. That's what he wanted. So,
Okay.
which
Kinda
I think
cool.
is dope, and I
Kinda
really
cool.
want that to come to fruition. So, but with the 70 million or whatever the crap Lewis signed at Ferrari for, which is
Mm-hmm.
this undisclosed astronomical amount, seems like that's where the investment goes.
Yeah.
And it seems like the race engineer and him are just not clicking. So,
Some
changes might need to be made.
Yeah. That's too bad.
How long is this contract at Ferrari?
I think it's 2 years.
eternity.
Oh, wait.
Eternity.
Because
Is it?
he's an ambassador.
That's right.
So, no, when he chooses to retire,
Yeah.
which is kind of
And
up
he's
to
how
him.
old?
And we've kind of given him 2 years
Yeah.
on our podcast because, like, give him this year and then the new regulations next year.
Right.
And then he'll win a championship and retire. I think that's Lewis's
That's his
hopeful
dream,
plan.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
what,
it's also
30?
Alonso's
Is he your
plan.
age? Is he?
No, Lewis is
He's
older than me.
30.
He's 12.
No, he's turned
39.
40.
Yeah, he's turned 40.
I think
okay.
Lewis is officially 40.
C-Max
Yeah.
just slapped him like.
Yeah, why are you trying to make me old? You are the old one. You need to take it easy. The person who's closest to me in age, his name is Sebastian Vettel, okay? It's not the Lewis Hamilton. I'm not going in there.
Well, you know, the thing is that Fernando has proven that you can race well into your 40s, and that's good.
I mean, true. I'm now beginning to believe that I don't think this is my hot take after this weekend. I don't think Fernando's as good of a racer as he used to be.
No.
And we're not seeing the full potential of the Aston Martin.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the first couple of races, that car, he was crashing out and it wasn't his fault. There was weird things happening. This week, he spun out on like weird corners, and this is his home Grand Prix. Like, he's won it a bunch.
I have a theory about this.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, Aston Martin needs to get 2 new, younger drivers to really see the full potential of that car. I think Stroll's not doing it, and Fernando's too old. That's my hot take. Okay.
I'm going to say your hot take is hot trash.
I'm going to say prove me wrong.
I'm going to prove you wrong.
I would love to see Fernando on the podium, but what are you thinking?
I mean, I think Fernando still got it, but I do think that Fernando is also persuasive. It has always been kind of his gamesmanship and his tactics to do things a little bit unorthodox, okay? Fernando comes over the radio and he says his tires are bad, time for a pit stop, and the team says, it's better for our strategy to stay out. So what does he do? He runs it through the gravel to be like, the tires are shot, bring me in.
Really? You
like,
think?
This is typical Fernando crap. Be like,
Okay.
oh, you don't believe me? Fine, I'll prove it.
Yeah.
And then they're like, box this lap, and it's just like he knows things. He knows how to
Yeah.
get things done. Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc are the type to argue over the radio and be like, I think this is going to be the better strategy. I'm going to talk this out with you. Fernando's like, do it now. Do it now. Fine, if you're not going to listen to me, I'm going to drive it through the freaking gravel and a spot that's not going to hurt the car. It's not going to hurt anything, and I won't get stuck.
we have to
But
change the
you're
tire.
gonna bring me in and change the tires because I know this is the time I want it.
Okay. I mean, I love that theory. I don't know.
I genuinely think
Yeah.
that's what he was
I
doing.
think Fernando's not coming back next year.
Well, he has one more year on his
He
contract.
does,
And I
But he
think
also
he
has
desperately
that-
wants to
He's
be
had
in
a
an Adrian
terrible
Newey
year, yeah.
car.
right?
The new regulations.
But he does it, yeah, and that's the thing. He also has that same contract that Lewis has at Ferrari at Aston Martin, which is that like you're a brand ambassador as soon as you decide to be done, and so he's not exactly in a position where he's going to have to make a decision. He's just if a decision is forced upon him, it'll be that Max is coming to Aston Martin and there's the door.
Yeah.
That's the only way I think that's
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah, you're right.
Gosh. They would keep Lance Stroll.
And from what I
Is
read
Lance Stroll going to like take himself out? Like, is he going to silently quit?
Well, didn't he slam his hand against the toolbox
So
or something?
I heard about this.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the actual
true or
truth.
not?
I just heard his hand hurt. What was the reason?
No, he threw a tantrum in the garage,
Supposedly he was
Oh.
pissed about the car not performing well,
and he slammed.
and he was throwing things and hitting stuff and hurt himself.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Hey, well, you can't drive."
Gosh.
I don't know if that's true, but BBC I think was the one that reported that rumor.
Yeah.
Would that be
Yeah.
the first time a billionaire's son acted out because he didn't get what he wanted? Maybe.
Not.
They're usually
outside
great.
of racing. Yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah. Has Lance been hanging out with George?
Yeah. That's nuts. Okay, I didn't know that. Interesting rumor.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it didn't just happen,
Okay.
randomly.
Yeah.
You know,
Something had to have
Yeah.
made that hand hurt.
If I were you, I would tell my father to make the car faster. It's not acceptable.
I mean,
you're right.
Lance has gotten more opportunity and more chances to prove himself than anybody else alive in racing.
Yeah.
Right.
And he really has, it's one of those things where he, as the owner's son, has done as best as you can expect somebody with very little talent. I mean,
100%.
and I mean, it's not, he's got more talent than all three of us put together.
Well,
driving
yeah,
that car,
for
no
sure.
question.
Yeah.
But he doesn't match up with the rest of the crew.
He has more talent than Nikita Mazepin,
Yeah.
but not more talent than anyone else on the grid.
Well,
Yeah.
Mazepin was in the same. They were the same.
That's what I'm
guy.
saying. Yeah, it's your dad has
Same
to,
guy.
your,
Yeah.
your dad has to be an oligarch for you
Yeah.
to be an F1.
Right.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
Your dad either was Tommy Hilfiger's CEO or your
Yeah.
dad was sitting on Putin's board.
Yeah.
Those are the only
These
ways.
are the only ways. Wait, what's our time at? How are we doing?
That's a great question. I don't have that at my disposal right now. Oh wait, no, we're at 54:27.
right,
Look
go-
at this. I'm getting.
The chat will tell us how long.
Yeah.
They'll tell us to stop.
I mean, I feel like there's two things I want to talk about. One, we just need to say what's the next race? Canadian Grand Prix in a few weeks. I think we have 2 weeks. Yeah, what was our little thing?
Yeah, I think it's not this week, but it's
Montreal.
the week
Montreal.
after.
Okay. Second one is I would be sad if we didn't hear any cool racing stories from Carlos as our guest today. I wanted to talk about things, and Mike kept saying, "Save it for the show. Save it for the show."
Oh, well, you know, it's what for me.
We have this helmet here. Mike's reaching
Do
for.
you want to put it on and
I-
see if it
no.
still fits?
Well, it's
You
see-
raced in the
you see a lot of
Celebrity
cool
Grand
people
Prix.
here, yeah. You know, it's Catherine Bell's on here.
Yeah, we all know who that is.
Yeah.
And
Cameron Diaz, Dad.
Cameron Diaz
Queen
is on
Latifah.
there.
Let's use
There-
the name.
oh, there we go.
Latifah,
Yeah.
Danny McKeever, who ran the school, and then of course
Paul Bufano.
and then also Jim Belushi was part of
Jim
it.
Belushi.
Oh.
He bailed on the race. He didn't race.
Yeah. 'cause
Why?
he-
Tell us. Why did Jim Belushi bail?
because I
'Cause he's
crashed into him.
Because he was
He's
he
a
was-
chicken.
No, because he literally got so pissed. I was there for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
He
he
did
crashed
not
into
like
him
it.
at Willow Springs, and he was like, "Carlos, what is this garbage?"
He's like, the wrong brother died.
throw it. Yeah,
So my coach, the guy sitting next to me,
it's this Johnny Cash story out of nowhere.
yeah, was teaching me how to push the car in front of me out of the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he said, "Look, Carl," he said, "Look, you're getting pretty good at this, and I think you need to learn a few techniques that'll help get people out of your way when they're not moving. Because even during training, I'd have to slow down, pass people. It's I was just driving much faster than everybody
Okay.
else. Not that I was any better. I was just going faster.
Okay.
And so he said, look, just slide over to the corner, hit their corner, hit their left corner with your right corner, and you'll spin them." So I did that to Jim, and he'd been blocking me for 3 laps. I was done. So this is in practice.
This is great. We're gonna tag Jim in
And you
this
have to
story.
understand, Willow Springs is just a big desert, right? So there's nothing to hit.
Oh man,
Okay.
and it's
This is
just
at
dirt.
Willow Springs for practice.
yes,
And then the race is at the Long Beach.
Long Beach Grand Prix. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
In so the city track, which is completely different.
Yeah,
Not-
that's
yeah.
wild.
It
Yeah.
doesn't. That Willow Springs doesn't teach you anything about.
no bumps.
No,
It's
completely-
super off camber.
And it rained the day that I raced. So.
Yeah.
So, I nudged, I nudged Jim Belushi, and he wiggled a little bit, and he flipped me off.
Oh.
And so I nudged him again, and then finally, and then he waved like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And I told him, "Move out."
Get
I'm
out of the
waving
way.
like I'm driving, and I'm trying to get him to move, and he
Yeah.
won't move. And so, so I finally just bumped him and spun him. And when I spun him and spun him. And I was making a big S turn. So I turned, hit the apex, and he comes right out of the track. His spin stops dead front. Boom. And I T-boned him full force.
So hard.
And he went flying.
Gosh.
And of course, my car was, it's front wheel drive. Everything's in the front of the car.
Full disintegration of this thing. Just
You're
disintegration.
driving Toyota Celicas.
I
Yes.
obliterated both cars. I managed to make it back to the pits. He's sitting in his car,
Yeah.
fuming in the middle of the desert. Okay, in the middle of the track, and he gets out of his car and he throws the helmet like all the way across the track, and then comes at me. Well,
Michael Schumacher style.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Angry through the pits.
He walks there. I'm still doing the lap, right? So I'm still going on, and then I get to the very end, and I see him stand there, and he's got his arms on his. He's going to kill me. He's much bigger than me.
Yeah, he's big.
I said, "You're going." So I'm driving all, and I pulled right up to him. I'm going to face him. I'm I'm being a bad guy. Roly poly Carlos. Here I go. I get out of the car. And he's looking at me he starts like, you. He goes, "That was awesome, man. I
Really?
loved it." He was like, I go, "Okay."
Okay.
"Oh, it's great. It was the greatest thing in the world." And Michael's standing there like, "What just happened?"
This is real.
I watched this happen.
He absolutely thought it was the best thing ever to get smacked twice. First I bumped him, and then I T-boned him. And I'm like, What are you talking about? He goes, "No, it's just, if that's the way racing is, I'm not doing it."
Wow.
And he bounced.
Wow.
He quit. And it was too bad because he would have been fun.
But he signed your helmet. Was this before that?
Yeah.
It's in here somewhere.
But it's funny. My sister and one of my older brothers, we drove all the way out to the Mojave Desert. This is middle of nowhere. Like Willow Springs is not close to at least where we
it's a
live.
couple hours away.
Yeah. So we drive all the way out there, and we literally get out of the car, walk up to the pit wall as this happens. We've been there 2 seconds.
And Dad's already crashing.
And and he T-bones Jim Belushi. We're just standing there going like, was that Dad?
The remarkable thing about that is that Toyota sponsored the whole thing.
Cool.
The Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. And they're not doing it anymore, but they had 2 giant trucks there for us. And all the safety equipment you could ever want. No one was ever going to get hurt. These cars are completely decked out for racing. And we're not going that fast. I mean, at the most, maybe 150, 160 miles an hour on a straightaway. But not dangerous. And then anyway, I didn't consider it dangerous. That happened with me and Jim Belushi, and we had a good talk about it. We went back for lunch because it was just before lunch this happened. We go back to the houses where all the food and everything was, and our showers and all that, and we have lunch, and the owner of the driving school, Danny McKeever, says, Carlos, I'm running out of cars with you. This is the 3rd car I wrecked.
Oh gosh.
So, I mean,
And this is before the race weekend, which
Yeah.
he crashed another one.
racing 3 cars, 4 cars total.
Nice.
And I think I had the record for most cars wrecked by celebrities. Anyway, so I actually had the fastest lap during practice, and I was doing really well. And they were excited that I might have a possibility of doing well in the race. So we spent about an hour and a half at lunch and more chalkboard training, and they were telling us stuff like that. I get back out onto the track, and my car is redone. They rebuilt the entire car during lunch.
Oh wow.
I was like,
Those
this
are
is incredible.
Pro mechanics.
Right.
It didn't look like nothing happened to it.
Wow.
It was and I said, is this the same car? And they go, yeah, it's the same car. We didn't bring in a new car. It's your car.
Wow, that's crazy.
Sure enough. So that was
Cameron Diaz, 1 car.
Okay.
Queen Latifah, 1 car. My dad, 4 or 5 cars.
Weiland was also the artist. Weiland, the famous ocean painter that paints the whales on the sides of buildings and stuff, was one of the drivers.
Okay.
Didn't he paint the one that's in Long Beach?
Yes,
On the side of the aquarium?
Okay.
And he put a whale tail painting on the back of the car.
Okay, cool.
He not only not raced, he went out on the racetrack with us. He started dead last, and went really slow. He didn't want to wreck the car
Because he painted on it.
Because he painted.
Oh.
What's
He
the
wanted
point?
his art
What's
car.
the point of being in a race of you're only going to race once in your lifetime?
Yeah.
And he says, "No, man, it's a piece of art.
Painted
Gonna
at
be
the
worth a-
end.
Gonna be worth a lot of
paint
money."
it
Like,
afterwards.
okay, whatever.
Go paint a wall with it.
Who ended up winning that Grand Prix for the celebrities in Long Beach?
Well, I tell everyone I won.
Okay.
Which is a lie.
Okay.
Yes.
1998. It was.
Forget his name.
Yeah.
Like Fitzpatrick or something
Yeah,
like
something
that.
like it was- oh, there's my coach, Jim Bishop. It was. I can't remember.
I want to say it was something like that, but he was.
I've been telling people that I won for so long that I've forgotten.
Yeah. I was hoping you won because it would mean that the guy who crashed the most cars became the best driver.
Well, but here's what's crazy.
Pushing it to the limit. Charles
Right.
Leclerc.
Max Verstappen.
How many cars have they crashed?
A lot. Many.
You can't get to the top without crashing a
Well,
few
look,
cars.
I knew that
Mark
my racing
Zuckerberg said
days,
that.
and I actually raced a couple more times after that, but bought in so I could do that. And I drove NASCAR cars and
All right.
yeah. So I really got the bug, and I had a
Uh-huh.
10-year-old son along with me for the ride the whole time.
Yes.
And he was done. He was like, "This is what I want to do."
Yes.
And
And I still didn't do it. Thanks, Dad.
you were really. He was good on the go-karts. He was very fast, and also
He is
great on
still
the motorcycle. Yeah. But anyway, another funny Toyota story, Grand Prix story, is that many years later, the following year, John Elway raced,
Okay.
and they invited us to come back, and so Michael and I went, and
George Lucas also raced.
George
this year.
Lucas raced.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So
So when you see the Monaco Star Wars car, this is similar timing.
Okay.
So like George was really getting into racing and like the pod racing
Yeah,
and the
it was great.
prequels
Oh,
and
yeah.
all that stuff was.
What came first, pod racing or this?
Beast.
It inspired him.
yeah.
Yeah.
So John Elway's there, and we knew he was going to be there, and Mike was born in Denver.
Okay.
So we had Denver Bronco helmets, Denver Bronco flags, license, footballs.
All the stuff.
We brought a box. And so we knew John was going to be there to sign autographs. So Michael, I said, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
So he takes the helmet, and John always signs it, and he tells him, hey, my dad raced in there, blah, 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 blah. And so he comes back, and then, okay, now take the football. And, John's talking to other people, and he's got this little kid hanging on him like, hey, he goes, another thing? So he signs the football, he comes back, and then I give you a jersey.
After about 7 things, he goes, geez, kid, you're going to make a fortune off of me. So he just kept signing stuff. Still have most of it, to be honest.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
And the final kind of wrap all this up about Long Beach. I had the chance to sit next to John Elway at a charity dinner like 20 years later. And we're sitting at the table, and I turn to him and I go, I won the Long Beach Grand Prix. And he lost his mind.
Why?
Because he's so competitive. He was like, you're kidding. How did you do that? He goes, it was impossible. I couldn't do anything in that car. That car was a piece of junk, and I couldn't get it to go any faster. And I kept wrecking, and I said, well, some of us got it, and some of us don't.
It's too bad.
So I had this
John.
photograph of him and I, with arm in arm, and he's got this big cheesy grin, like, I'm with a champion.
That's crazy.
With a big, fat.
Truth.
It's the truest. It was the most important truth John has ever heard.
It's not a lie if you believe it.
Yeah.
George Costanza.
Yeah. Vandalay. Say Vandalay.
But thanks to the good folks there, I had the time of my life.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, no, it still fits.
Still fits. Here we go. Let's see it on his noggin here. There we go.
Easy fit. Easy fit.
It's just like let's cut to the ESPN footage, producer Kevin. No, wait, he's not
The
here.
thing that I regret is that later on they had the full helmets with the. You're laughing at.
Oh, well, I mean, your head's not getting any bigger.
You're looking at my Dale. I'm taking out to the woodshed.
You look great, kid.
This has been a lot of fun, you guys.
I'm glad.
Well,
Yeah, this has been a blast to have you on. This has been good.
it's been insightful. It's been a great learning lesson to have Carlos join us on my show. I was on KTLA. I don't know how many times as a youth.
Yeah.
As a kid.
If you are wondering where Carlos Amezcua is famous from, he's in the What's My Age Again video from Blink-182. That's how I know him.
Yes. So
Blink-182 runs naked through his news studio.
This is
That
an
was fun,
actual
yeah.
fact.
Yeah.
They did run through. They were wearing skin-colored Speedos with
Mm.
drawings on front.
Yeah.
Of course. Wouldn't be Blink-182 without some kind of profane something.
It's funny because we were doing the news, and in the commercial break, the director comes on. Look, I hope you don't mind. We're going to shoot a quick thing here with Blink-182, and I went, "What's Blink-182?" I didn't know.
And then you learned real quick.
And then they just ran in front of our set.
And I mean, to his point, at this stage, this was probably their biggest hit, right?
Yeah, definitely was like their breakout album for sure.
Yeah. Because like Josie and whatever,
And
off
Enema
like
of the
Cheshire
State
Cat,
was, like,
yeah,
big,
yeah.
yeah.
These are definitely not as big as songs, but kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Definitely a fun moment in history. Anyway, well,
I was just going to say that, I always say that if you have a kid that likes to drive fast and is getting your car in trouble and is getting tickets, take him out to the track. Spend a couple of bucks, and even if you don't have a lot of money, if you have a kid who's just always getting in trouble because he's speeding and he's doing these street takeovers and stuff like that, take him out, let him drive a real race car, and take a lesson in driving a real race car. It'll take it right out of you. It just takes everything out of you. It doesn't make you more bold to drive fast. It actually makes you more sensible. You understand the dynamics of speed
and the
danger
limit.
And the limit that you can push your car to. And it makes you respect it. And I really did learn a lot. I mean,
That's
it was
cool.
a great, great experience.
That's really cool.
I appreciate the racers so much. That's why I'm so mad at all the rules.
Well, and I mean, into that, our friend from Utah Racing Club.
They're doing a thing this weekend.
They're doing a race this weekend here in Utah, where they'll be out at the Burt Brothers Motorsport Park, which has just changed its name.
Cool.
And
You can bring a car and race around the track this weekend. I think
get
for
your
free.
opportunity for roll racing, which I'm not sure they're going to do actual like cornering, but a little bit of drag racing opportunities and a couple of
Kind of fun.
Yeah,
I
and
was thinking about planning on going out there this weekend. Yeah.
I highly recommend that.
That's fun.
it's going to be really fun. So yeah, definitely if you're local to Utah, go check out Utah Racing Club this weekend
Gonna take
and
the-
follow them on Instagram. They're good friends of ours.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Shoot. I think that's it.
Yeah. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is a dream come true, and I'm sure all three of your viewers would love to be here too.
Yes.
Sorry guys, no, I'm just
We're
kidding.
just a few million people short from being monetized.
Yeah, just a couple.
So-
No, you guys are
This
you
is a
guys
big
are
gap.
very popular, and this is a successful podcast. You guys have been on for a long, long time, and I admire the work that you do. And you know, it's not easy to do this. You guys do a really good job. You're seamless. You're good together, and your audience is very lucky to have you.
Appreciate it.
I will leave you with this.
Yeah.
Nicole Briscoe's about to interrupt us to end the
or
podcast.
or Melissa Briscoe. What's her name? The ESPN.
Nicole Briscoe.
Is it Nicole?
Yeah.
Do you know who
when
she
she
is?
pops up, she goes,
Oh, you watch on the app, huh?
"Oh,
Yeah.
you don't know Nicole Briscoe."
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
She
She's
interrupts
an
at-
F1 interrupter?
Yeah. She is right
soon
after
as the champagne-
is sprayed, she comes in and she goes, "Thank you for watching our coverage of
okay.
ESPN,
Oh,
blah blah blah."
dang.
And
So
it's
annoying.
and she says Grand Prix.
That's my pet peeve. in that
Yeah, it's so funny. Laurel, my wife, she's like, I hate her. Every time she pops up, she's like, why does she say that so stupid? She's just trying to be cool and it doesn't work.
one. Yeah.
If anybody at F1 is watching,
Yep, they do.
F1 needs an American show hosted by American talent to talk about the F1 show after the F1 races. And if you don't do it, you're losing out a huge market segment.
Yes.
You guys really, I mean, come on, F1, pull your head
Come
out.
on,
America
F1.
is a big F1, a growing fan base.
Oh,
It is,
yeah,
for sure.
totally.
And we need a good analysis show that isn't British, that isn't Sky TV. I think Sky TV does a great job, but we have a different view on that, and so
Yeah.
I really do want you guys.
Do you think they'll let me continue to do my George impression if
Do
we
you
got
think
that
they'll let us
opportunity?
give proper time to Disney car movies? Or Condor Man?
Yeah, well, I
think so.
I think you
I
guys
think
have
so.
something special.
you.
Carlos is the one who introduced me to Condor Man, so you be careful with
Yeah,
what
I
your
know, I'm going
opinion
up
on
against
that
two.
one. Yeah,
Oh man,
Okay. See, even he regrets it.
exactly.
I regret
Anyway,
including you on anything like that.
we're so happy to have
Thank
you
you.
on the show. This has been so fun.
Appreciate the invite.
Like and subscribe, share, and then we'll see you next week.
Adios.
I think that's it.